What's approaching the supreme moment? Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? While I was on the beach earlier, I was able to record this team setup. This is going to be the pretty much like Tournament of Power Chicks at 100% potential. This is going to be Caulifla, level 14 additionals, level 12 criticals. Berserker Kale, definitely at 100%. Really nice unit as well. Did get the Kefla unit at 100% potential. Pretty much pulled like 3 dupes off the 250 million download banner. This is the intelligence version Kale, pretty much a heavy focus on the evasion levels, and then Riburan was kind of like the last remaining spot with the 100% potential. Even though I didn't really want to include her on here, I figured I'd test her out and see how she is with this setup. This is going to be on the new Boss Rush 6, so it is the newest, Boss Rush event, so, a pretty good spot to test out how this team will do. I did bring in the flute items, which I'll more than likely use, but let's see if I can actually run this without any other items used. The other thing I did want to note was, damn, I can't even think straight. This vacation thing is killing my brain cells. Yeah, the main focus is just seeing how this team itself will do, with the newest like Dokkan events. I did put the Jiren double lead, so Jiren is big pimpin' right now with a bunch of the chicks, or I guess the appropriate term would be thoughts, but we'll see how Jiren is obviously going to be attacking and supporting the team overall, but the rest of the team is pretty much a bunch of chicks within the Tournament of Power setup, so we'll see how things go. I did think about going with the Caulifla double lead, just to make it all chicks, but I did want to see them, with their maximum team setup. So with the Universe Survival Saga, setup, they do get that 150% boost. That way, their damage output and defensive abilities and all that would be more realistic. And I just had a helicopter go through, so you might have heard that, but it's all good. It's one of those things where they give a bunch of the beach tours with the helicopter rides and all that. Anyways, I did speed this video up a little bit just to not drag this out into like a 25-30 minute video. So it is a little bit sped up, just for timing purposes, but it shouldn't be too bad. And with the rotations itself, obviously did want to keep Caulifla, Kale, and Kefla together, but at the same time, the intelligence version of Kale does provide 30% to attack and defense for the Universe Survival Saga category. So felt like she would be better kept on as a floater. Riburan, honestly, I just kind of filled in the slot for her, really, just to have another 100% potential chick within the Tournament of Power setup. So that's really the only reason she's there. Honestly, I didn't want to include her, but whatever. So yeah, Berserker Kale is definitely a very good unit at 100%. She does have the ability to super up to 3 times, and then if you have critical hits levels, definitely allows her to definitely deal a lot of damage. The intelligence Kale, I maxed her out a long time ago, just to kind of test out how she is, and I did go with a heavier focus on dodge or evasion on her. I rarely actually give units priorities to evasion, even if they are support units. I'm more of a fan of balanced between attack, defense, support, whatever you can think of. So I rarely do that, but in this case, it just made sense to do so. So she's really there to just provide criticals when she's able to, and then for the most part, dodge attacks. The Kefla unit is obviously pretty good as well. The more the physical type keys she collects, the increase in damage she'll have, and then she pairs up well with either the Caulifla unit or the Kale unit, obviously. So pretty good unit. And again, I didn't even have a dupe for her not even that long ago, and then once they gave out the tickets for the 250 million download celebration, I ended up pulling 3 dupes on her, and was able to get her to rainbow status, and then off the LR Goku and Frieza banner I ended up pulling another one. So now all of a sudden I have a useless dupe for her. Same thing for the Berserker Kale unit. I ended up pulling another card, even though she's already been at 100% for a little while. But so far, I mean, this team actually does pretty well. You know, they are given that 150% boost toward stats, but at the same time, I mean, they do link up fairly well with each other, and yeah, I mean, they mesh pretty well, and they can do decent enough damage to where it's definitely not a bad team. It's not the best of teams, nowhere near that, but at the same time, it's not bad. The one thing I would say is probably if I had the ability to do so, I would definitely replace Riburan with another unit probably that would fall within this type of setup. I can't really think of any on top of my head, but I mean, she's not a bad unit. I was really on the fence initially when I first decided to get her to 100%. The only reason I did so was because of the Peppy Gauss category stage within the newly added Super Battle Road. So that's really the only reason I ended up even 100%ing the Riburan unit. And I mean, she's an okay unit. She does have decent abilities to increase, you know, attack and defense and whatnot based on the passive skills. So I mean, it's all good. I wouldn't say it's like one that you absolutely have to max out, but you know, for the most part, if you have dupes for Kale, Berserker Kale, Caulifla, and Kefla, obviously you want to invest the potential orbs into them because they are worth it. But other than that, I mean, I really just wanted to test it out. Like, you saw Riburan hit for about 450,000 in damage with the criticals, so she can definitely hit a decent amount. And that's really the only reason why I ended up, you know, giving her 100% potential in the, you know, for the purposes of the Super Battle Road stages. It's definitely an interesting team to run. I haven't really ran this team setup on like a normal occasion. You know, I just kind of decided, since I actually do have enough units for a video like this, I figured I'd go ahead and do it. And once I did it, it's actually pretty interesting. The one good thing that did help with the Riburan unit in the Super Battle Road stage was her ability to recover HP. I think it was like 7,777 per Rainbow Key collected, so that definitely does help, especially when you have limited resources within the Battle Road setup. So in addition to that, you could, you know, include the Tech Bulma unit that also has the ability to recover HP as well. So yeah, I mean, it's worthwhile for that purpose, but other than that, it's not really worth it. For some reason, I end up pulling a lot of dupes of these chicks, like especially Caulifla, Kale, and Kefla. Like, all of a sudden, I've been picking up dupes for them. So they're just kind of sitting there. I'm not going to baba them or anything. You know, it's kind of just keep them on reserve. You never know what things are going to happen later down the road. So, you know, it's always good to just keep them for now and then, you know, see what happens later. So this is the Tech Vegito Blue battle. And then, you know, we're just kind of going through it. Obviously, you know, I wanted to keep Kale and, well, I guess both versions of Kale together, but you know, Jiren has the type advantage, and he does have the ability to tank. So, you know, it's obvious. It's an obvious choice to put him in the first slot. All right, so moving on, and yeah, let's see how this does. Definitely a little interesting rotation here. Kefla is probably the best pick to put in the middle. Definitely don't want to break the link between Caulifla and Kefla, so Riburan can kind of just sit there at the last spot. Caulifla can definitely hit pretty well once the criticals actually activate. She's got the ability to hit for a pretty decent amount. HP levels are definitely getting a little bit low, but yeah, not bad, not too bad so far. I don't want, I actually want Berserker Kale to link back up with the other units, so I'm not going to put her in the middle for this one. Pretty much, Vegeta Blue's going to be, done for this one, so, it's not really a big deal at this point. So even though I want the Kale unit as more or less a floater, she does have type advantage against, oncoming attacks, so definitely, just better to put her in the first slot. And it was a good idea because the super attack was coming and her dodge levels kicked in and she was able to evade that, so definitely good there. And then the more physical ki that Kefla collects, the more powerful she gets. So 1.3 million potential, definitely not bad. The other thing I did forget to mention is for Kefla, in addition to the attack increasing, I think it was, like 12%, right? Per key sphere collected. It also increases the defense by the same percentage, so, the more she collects, the better she can defend as well. Or they can defend as well. I always end up saying she or her, even though it's a fused unit, so it's really 2 chicks instead of 1, but I don't know, it gets confusing after a while, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. Alright, so that was Vegeta Blue, and then should be the Rose battle, and then the Gogeta, so not too bad so far. The only items used at this point was obviously the Flute items against the Hiradegarn event. Other than that, it's been pretty much straightforward. I mean, there's definitely been points where the HP levels were a little bit on the low side, but overall, I mean, they do have the ability to evade attacks, counter, tank, so overall it's not bad. And then we have another Dokkan mode, so definitely want to reserve that one for the next battle instead of wasting it here with the Goku Black unit. This is definitely a little bit on the longer side of videos than I tend to do usually, but instead of splitting this up into sections, I kind of wanted to keep it in one cut, even though it's sped up a little bit, just to show you guys that this team was able to clear it with relative ease. It wasn't easy, but it was easy enough to where it was definitely not too much of a struggle. And definitely counter there with the attack, so that definitely helps. I mean, 383,000 with the counter on top of evading the enemy's super attack definitely does help a lot. Definitely saves you a lot in terms of HP and items needing to be used. Alright, let's see if a critical activates here. Nope. But 700,000 is still 700,000 in damage. So definitely a lot weaker here for Kefla since it is type disadvantage, but it's all good. I think the missing piece for this is probably another unit that had a higher probability to stun the enemies, but this is more or less, just kind of, test out how this team itself was. So within the availability of this setup, which is the Tournament of Power Chicks, yeah, this is pretty much the team I had for that. Overall, they're not too bad. And, 2 of the units are free-to-play units, so definitely, I mean, it's not like a crazy team to get. I mean, Caulifla, Kale, and Kefla are units that tend to drop more than others. I don't know, that could just be me personally, but it seems like they drop more than other, non-Dokkan Fest units. So this is a pretty good setup here. Jiren can definitely tank a lot, and then Caulifla has the ability to evade attacks and counter on top of her having type advantage, and then Kale's providing the support as well. Yep, that counter attack definitely helps out a lot. Especially when it kicks in. Obviously, it doesn't kick in all the time. I think for this run, in particular, it just got kind of lucky with the, yeah, I mean, it really just came down to luck on this one. At times, I've gone through it where she will not evade or counter whatsoever, and it's a little bit infuriating sometimes because you really need to, or if I rephrase it, she tends to not do it when you really, really need for her to do so. Alright, this is probably one of the easier battles compared to the other ones within Boss Rush 6. I mean, it seems like it anyway. Especially since it is one specific type throughout, so you don't really have to, worry too much about, changing types and how to keep the rotations going and all that. The Jiren unit I didn't cover, but he is at, I believe, 79%. In the potential system, I gave him level 9 for additional attack and level 17 for criticals, just because, I mean, personally, I'm a fan of criticals, and I figured level 9 would be good enough to where additionals would kick in frequently enough to where it would be okay. I tend to favor critical hits over additional attacks. I mean, it obviously depends on the unit, but for the most part, I do like criticals over additional attacks. So a couple of more, and this should be it. Yeah, I mean, so far this has been a pretty good run. Everybody seems to mesh pretty well, and they're doing pretty good in terms of, both damage output as well as the defensive abilities. And I mean, I'll give credit when credit's due. Like, Jiren is definitely helping out the team overall as well. I mean, in terms of both offense and defense. Alright, so this is, I guess, the really only tricky one here is the Gogeta battle. I mean, the supers can definitely do a decent amount of damage, I presume. So it's a matter of, getting that HP level down as quick as possible before Gogeta has the ability to really, hurt your team. So Kale doesn't have the ability to dodge attacks whatsoever. I didn't give her any levels toward, evasion. So yeah, I mean, here's what I'm talking about. Like, well, she'll definitely get hit for a pretty decent amount. 134,000. So not too bad. I mean, we'll kind of keep going, and should be good enough to where Gogeta should be KO'd here in a little bit. I don't think Gogeta's going to have the chance to attack Kale at the last slot. Yeah, that's pretty much a wrap there. So yeah, that was pretty much the quick testing with this team setup with the Tournament of Power Chicks. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Definitely appreciate you watching, and I'll try and do more videos throughout the week. All right, I'll definitely check you guys later.